Good morning. Right Reverend Sir, Mr. Secretary, I submit my report to you with the following comments. Be transformed. You know now that this is the theme of our convention, and you have not likely noticed, maybe if you look through your packet, that there have been several reports that have filed in there that give you an in-depth look at what has been happening in the realm of discipleship, in formation, and in our school for ministry. The word formation itself conjures many images, and it's ultimately the basis of that bigger task, transformation. And I've regularly likened this season of our lives together as one of great change. Much like the concept of plate tectonics that I learned about in 5th grade. It shocked me to think that our continents themselves were once aligned and connected in wholly different ways than they are right now. And the same thing is happening in our churches and in our seminaries. The way that we form and shape our leaders for worship, for pastoral care, preaching, and evangelism has changed significantly. And no one really likes to talk about change. No one really craves to be in this wilderness where we question who we are and why we are doing what we do. Yet it is vital that we do so. I've asked myself the question that Bishop Kendrick posed to us. Do you know your why? Sometimes the answer comes quickly, seems simple. And then sometimes it seems cloudy and just out of reach. There are no shortage of headlines indicating how our numbers are going down, clergy are worn out, the value of what we are doing is being questioned and challenged. What we don't see, or what we're tempted to overlook, are the everyday saints who are keeping on. Those who are choosing the way of love, humility, and service. I am humbled to see it in the students that I get to work with, both in their discernment and in their education. Some of those special saints include those who are working on our Mental Health Alliance, our commission for the integrity of creation, led by Lela Lowe, Education for Ministry, EFM, by the Reverend David Clothier, and the many resources and classes that are now available in pastoral care with our instructors, Sue Rollins and Anita Ford, and in formation and catechesis with the wonderful Mr. Joe Taylor. There is much that is growing and blossoming, and I celebrate the passion that these leaders are bringing to our diocese and the conviction with which they bring it. This year we see ourselves, our broader culture, focusing intently on our differences, the polarities in our politics, the rising mistrust of everyday authentic conversation, and an epidemic of loneliness from our turn to technology as a way of engaging this world. We are warned continuously to be wary of the narrative that is dominating and to remove ourselves from this fray of information overload. How are we to find transformation among all of this? Well, the formation that I'm most interested in as a dean, working with deacons, lay people, priests, is a phrase that I refer to often. Do no harm. It sounds obvious, almost ridiculous. However, if we pause to think about where we are now and where we want to be, we have to commit ourselves to a story that is not about replacing power structures or domination with more of the same. I believe Bishop Kendrick pointed us that way very well. For that to happen, our doors need to be flung wide open. Our tables need to be made bigger. Our openness made more vulnerable. Our imaginations nourished beyond scarcity and fear. After all, we are not here to be guards or gatekeepers. We are here to serve and to accompany. And discipleship demands that we daily realize that we are not at war with each other, no matter what the headlines say. We can listen and be open with compassion. We can honor our fears, our wounds, without being tormented by them. As James Farmer once wrote, courage, after all, is not being unafraid, but doing what needs to be done in spite of fear. If there is any hope or courage left in me, it's my refusal to let fear of change, fear of transformation eclipse our imaginations of what might be, of what can be. For us to maintain imagination for both the beautiful and the terrible, we have to commit ourselves daily to participating in God's transformation plan. Therefore, standing in the line of prophets, sages, we realize that there will always be times in our life together when the firmament of our being seems to collapse and take all the light with it. It rarely looks that way on the inside when you're actually going through it. But these are times of profound transformation and recalibration. And we are in such a season. We are at that crossroads of a recalibration in ministry. As Bishop Kendrick says, of giving the church back to the baptized. As we become aware of our own hopes for the future, rather than treating opportunities as problems to be solved, we can choose to use our discernment to look with new eyes at what we have done to merely survive and resolve to do better. When we know better, we do better. Sticking to our commitment to transformation will involve getting the knack of relaxing during chaos, learning not to panic, project, or become suspect. We choose again today to open ourselves to being inspired and changed in ways that we may have never imagined. This is probably why God allows most of our great relationships, that's ultimately what we're here for, to begin with a kind of deep admiration and awe. It's in this posture that we take our place as students, always being formed and shaped as disciples. Because if we never consent to truly do that, to being lifelong learners, nothing new will happen. I'm ready for the new to be born in us and to transform the ragged edges of this, our war-torn world. Shalom.